Salute to Veterans Bowl. It's going to feature a South Alabama team, okay, which honestly finished in the upper echelon of the Sun Belt, and you're talking about a Western Michigan team that maybe went on a bit of a schneid near the end of the season. There finished in the top half of the MAC, but you know, I think there's a reason that there's a 7.5 point spread right here in this football game. Okay, South Alabama. When I look at them, okay, their season has been riddled. I mean, riddled with inconsistencies. Okay, riddled with it. What South Alabama team was going to show up was the question that we were asking before every game that we previewed that included South Alabama or every best bet. It was what South Alabama team we were going to get. I think Major Applewhite had a very successful year in his first year. I thought Gio Lopez played really good at quarterback. I thought they found something in Bothwell there at running back, even Bullock as well. And I'll let you get into some of these players that are missing and opting out in this game. There are some key pieces there, but I do think the South Alabama team had a really good season for Major Applewhite's first year. And I do think that there are some aspects to South Alabama, like their physicality up front, that might give Western Michigan some problems here. So, what are you seeing in this game right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned, both these teams. It was kind of a tale of two stories. You mentioned Western Michigan starting off hot in that MAC. I remember back in October, I think we previewed them when they were going to play Northern Illinois because they started 4-0 in the MAC, and it was a big time game in the MAC for the standings there. Both the teams kind of tapered off towards the end, but yeah, and then South Alabama just finishing football games, finishing. I mean, how many times did you see a lead blown? Some kind of frustration happen in that second half there. Too many times to count, right? But South Alabama also played a pretty darn tough schedule. You look at their out of conference losses, looking at an LSU team, right, which obviously is fairly more talented than anything else in the Sun Belt and in the MAC as well. North Texas team at the time playing very good football, as well as Ohio Bobcats, who are your MAC champions, right? A team that's we're gonna be talking
Mm-hmm.
about later on this week, playing in their bowl game. But yeah, obviously a very intriguing matchup. It's the first bowl game of the year, for the FBS. Obviously, you got Celebration Bowl there, which will be very fun to watch, Saturday at noon, right, and all that good stuff. But this will be the Salute to Veterans Bowl, like you said, in Montgomery, Alabama, just a 2-hour drive up 65 from Mobile to Montgomery. Not bad at all for the Jaguars. And we've talked about it off air here. So what, the second straight bowl game for South Alabama being basically a home game, a de facto home game against a MAC team from Michigan. Last year they went
Yeah,
and stomped Western Michigan, or excuse
Eastern
me,
Michigan.
Eastern Michigan. Thank you so much. In Mobile this year, they're playing the Broncos of Western Michigan in Montgomery. In terms of the players who aren't going to be playing here, and this is why you want to follow us. That's why you want to subscribe to our channel here for bowl season, because it's going to be hard to keep track of who's in the portal, who's not, who's playing, and also in the portal, what kind of stuff's going on, coaching, who's coaching. A lot of stuff's going on. The college ball calendar is a mess right now, but we're going to be here to hopefully walk you through it all, starting with South Alabama. Good news first, right? Gio Lopez is coming back. That was something that was a little speculation there because of how productive he has been for a couple years now for the South Alabama football team. He's back for them. He talked about how excited he is to be playing for the Jaguars. He's also injured right now, so he got hurt in that last game. So we'll see what happens. He's kind of questionable. I think he's going to be playing. If not, they got Bishop Davenport, who South Alabama fans know is a pretty capable backup in terms of your G5 specialists. And obviously, I feel pretty good about them either way in that, whoever's playing there. Bad news, your star freshman, Fluff Bothwell, you mentioned him being a great find. He's in the portal. He's a stud, as well as Jordan Scruggs is getting some Power 5 attention. Also a damn good cornerback for him in that defensive backfield. For Western Michigan, though, I think these losses might hurt them a little bit more than South Alabama. South Alabama has, a guy like Kentrell Bullock, who's very, very productive, is also a very good football player as a running back to kind of back up Fluff Bothwell and get more of the carry there. For Western Michigan, a couple of guys I want to highlight here. Obviously, they got a bunch of guys in the portal, but Blake Bosma, right, the tight end there is low-key a stud. Right, he leads the team in receptions, right, one of the more productive MAC tight ends, very sought after right now in the portal, as well as, Corey Walker, defensive end, edge rusher for there. He's their best pass rusher. You're going to have to replace those snaps. You're going to have to replace that production there, and it's not going to come from your fellow defensive lineman, Ontario Thompson, right, who played 400 snaps for you as well. So, defensive coordinator there, Scott Powers, going to have to dial up the pressure somehow. Going to have to replace that sack production that Corey Walker gave you. And if you can get pressure on Gio Lopez, we've seen him be put in bad spots too. Also, Davenport, too, is a guy that takes a lot of sacks for someone who played very
Yeah.
limited positions. So like getting pressure on these quarterbacks is going to be very, very important. And let one of your playmakers like Tate Hadalock, right, very, very productive corner or defensive back for Western Michigan. It's going to be tough, right? I think South Alabama gets a win here. I think they cover. I feel pretty darn good about it. We just tweeted it out before we started recording here on our Twitter, so make sure you follow us at the Redshirt Soft
At the Redshirt Soft.
on X on Twitter. Yeah, I got South Alabama on -7.5. What about you?
Yeah, I do too. It's not going to go my best bets, but when I look at this Western Michigan team, like they're scarily similar to that Eastern Michigan team that, played against South Alabama last year in that bowl game. Team very heavily dependent on their run game, right? And Eastern Michigan had a very solid running back last year. Evan Sampson did some really good things for them, and Chris Creighton's a fantastic coach. And over here on the Western Michigan side, you got a great 1-2 punch here. You got, Nixon and Buckley doing good things. Both of them a little bit different running backs. You had Buckley kind of returning as that all MAC player, and then Nixon kind of coming in the middle of the season being like, whoa, yeah, wait, I'm the superstar here. And then Buckley kind of inching out more work kind of near the end of the season. Buckley getting a lot of those goal line carries, specifically in the red zone. Really good tandem for them. I just think South Alabama might be a little bit more physical, and they're not losing anyone in that front seven. And I do think Western Michigan defensively they're really bad, man. They're really bad. 109th in scoring defense. Okay, 111th in allowing yards per play. They can't get off the field on third down. They have the worst fourth down conversion rate allowed in college football. They let up a fourth down conversion 78.6% of the time. That is terrible. I already said it's the worst in college football. And South Alabama is a team that, yeah, they'll go for it on fourth down. And guess what? They got a quarterback that can get out of the pocket and do that. And they're going to get in those third and shorts, those fourth and shorts, because they run the ball so dang well. They're one of the best running attacks in the entire country, let alone just the Sun Belt. So I'm with you. I'm with South Alabama here, -7.5. It's just going to be more about, like, for me, like, do they get this cover? In terms of putting on my best bets, I'm a little bit nervous about that because I don't know what's going on at quarterback. I do think that Kentrell Bullock, like you talked about, is a perfectly capable back. I mean, we know Bothwell's a stud, all right, but Bullock is very, very capable. All right, he's experienced. I mean, he had more carries than Bothwell did this year, alone. He averaged over 5 yards per carry. He's very good in his own right. And Jamal Pritchett, still playing, getting snaps, and I don't see. And look, if you're going to be able to take advantage of Jordan Scruggs being out, are you going to do it with Hayden Wolf at cornerback? Right? I don't know that you are.
If you're Western Michigan, ideally your game plan is you talked about running the football and stopping the run, and it could be tough. You talked about them even in their wins in the MAC, they were giving up plenty of points to Ball
So
State
many
and Buffalo,
points. And they were
others.
lucky on a lot of turnover margins here. Like, they recovered 13 fumbles on the year. That's third in the country on defense. So there was more room to have even more damage done to your defense if you didn't recover those fumbles.
Yeah, you're going to need guys like Kenneth Womack, Sambucci, guys to step up in the absence of, the tight end being out.
I think Womack will be good. I think he'll have a nice game, I think. But it's going to come down to Hayden Wolf. Like, how well is he going to play? Can they run the ball? And is Hayden Wolf going to step up when they need him to make big plays and win this football game? I don't know. I don't know that he will. And that's why I'm with you on South Alabama -7.5 here.
I do want to ask you real quick, and I hate we have to talk about this in 2024, but we kind of have to, right, in terms of bowl games, in terms of buy-in. Right? I think it means a little bit less and a little bit less to think about with some of these earlier football games, because you've got a lot of teams and players with chips on their shoulders, coach with chips on their shoulders. It's a chance to be a national broadcast. It's a big time. These bowl games mean a lot for these programs, money-wise, for the conferences, all that kind of good stuff. You worried about that from either team here, laying a dud? I'm not, personally.
No, I'm not. I think these teams will both give their best. However, I think Alabama has more to give, more to offer here. So, yeah.
I also want to talk about Jaden Voisin and Wesley Miller, a couple of safeties, very, very dynamic for South Alabama. 8 combined interceptions this year. That coupled with, maybe playing from behind. If you can't get pressure on Gio Lopez, if you can't get pressure on Davenport, and Bullock gets going, it could be a tough spot there for Hayden Wolf and company there for Western Michigan.
It's not too late to make a free $50. That's right. You got to do two things. One, you got to subscribe to the Redshirt Sophomore podcast. That's all you got to do. Then the second step to that is you're going to go into the link in the description and join the college football bowl pool pick'em that we're putting on. Yep, that's right. Introducing the Redshirt Sophomore college football bowl pool pick'em. You're going to go in that link. You're going to find all the bowl games, and you're going to pick those bowl games, and you're going to sign confidence points. How confident are you that that team is going to win that bowl game? And there's a lot of points to sign, and it's never too late to join. That's the thing. You would think, oh man, the first bowl game already passed, South Alabama, Western Michigan. It's not too late. Okay, you only would lose 1 point. Okay, and generally, out of the 400 some points that you can earn, you're not even going to come close to making all those points. So it really, 1 point is not the biggest difference in the world. So make sure though that you are subscribed to the Redshirt Sophomore to qualify for this prize. And good luck to you all.